My adopted sister humiliated me at her 18th birthday party in front of 100 people, but when my aunt revealed she's her biological mother and left me $50,000. My parents begged on their knees and Natalie was left destroyed. I'm 19 years old. I'm in my second year of college, and I need to tell this story because basically what happened a few months ago completely changed my life and took this gigantic weight off my shoulders that I'd been carrying around for as long as I can remember. I guess I should start by explaining what my life has been like up until now, because if I don't, none of this is going to make sense. My entire life, since I was like 6 or 7 years old, I've been invisible in my own house. And I'm not exaggerating or being dramatic. It's literal. My parents adopted my sister Natalie when I was about a year old, so we basically grew up together. But the difference is that she was always the favorite. And when I say favorite, I don't mean they gave her a little bit more attention. No. I mean I practically didn't exist to them. Everything revolved around Natalie. Her needs, her whims, her tantrums, everything. If Natalie wanted something, she got it. If I asked for something, they'd tell me not to be selfish, to think about my sister, that she needed it more. I'll give you concrete examples because I know it sounds unbelievable. When I was in middle school, I got straight A's all year, you know? And my parents didn't even go to the awards ceremony because that same day, Natalie had a volleyball game. A regular game, not a final or anything important, just another game of the season. But of course, they had to go see her. I remember sitting there watching all the other kids receive their diplomas with their families applauding, and I was alone, like literally alone. And when I got home, my mom didn't even ask me how it went. She said, "How's your sister? I think she hurt her ankle in the game." That was all she cared about. Or when I turned 16, which is supposed to be an important birthday, right? My parents bought me a card from the supermarket with $20 inside. $20. But when Natalie turned 16 the next year, they threw her a huge party at an event hall, hired a DJ, professional photographer, bought her a used car. I mean, they literally spent thousands of dollars. And I was there at the party, helping serve food because my mom said I had to collaborate with the family, while everyone sang happy birthday to my sister, and she was there like a princess in her new dress that cost like $500. When I asked my mom why my birthday had been so different, she told me I was more mature and didn't need those things, that Natalie was more sensitive and needed to feel special. Can you believe it? The problem wasn't just the money or the gifts. Honestly, it was everything. It was the way they talked to me, like I was a constant nuisance. Natalie could come home at any hour, leave her room a complete mess, not do any household chores, and my parents would say she was busy with her activities. But I had to clean my room, make my own food, wash my own clothes, and if I left even one dirty dish, my dad would yell at me, that I was messy and irresponsible. Natalie could get bad grades and my parents would say, "Not everyone is good at studying." I'd get a B instead of an A, and they'd scold me for not trying hard enough. And the worst part is that Natalie knew perfectly well the power she had over my parents and used it to make my life miserable. If I had something she wanted, she just had to cry or complain and my parents would force me to give it to her. Once my aunt gave me a pretty necklace for Christmas, nothing super expensive, but I really liked it, and Natalie saw it and said she wanted one just like it. My mom told me to lend it to her for a party. Natalie lost it, and my parents told me not to make a drama, that they were just material things. But when I accidentally scratched one of Natalie's books, that she hadn't even read, I had to pay her with money from my part-time job at a coffee shop. I was making like $8 an hour and had to give her $30 for a book that cost $15. So last summer came and I had just finished my first year of college. I had managed to get in with a partial scholarship because my parents basically told me that if I wanted to go to college, I had to figure out how to pay for it, that they didn't have money for that because they were saving for Natalie's college, who, by the way, has worse grades than me, but my parents said they were going to pay everything for her. I was super proud of myself, honestly, because I had worked hard to get that scholarship and was maintaining a high GPA while working as a waitress on weekends to pay my expenses. Natalie was turning 18 that summer, and my parents had been planning this super elaborate party for months. They rented an event garden, hired catering, DJ, even one of those fancy photo booths. They invited like 100 people. I had come back home just for the summer to work and save money for the next semester, and my parents told me I obviously had to go to the party because what would people think if I wasn't there? They made it clear that my job was to help and not cause problems. The party was on a Saturday afternoon. I put on a simple dress I'd had since high school because I didn't have money to buy something new, and my parents didn't even notice. Natalie arrived in an expensive new dress, professionally made up. My parents had paid for a makeup artist, with her hair done at a salon. She looked good, I'm not going to lie, but she had that attitude of hers as always, like everyone was there to serve her. The party was going normally, people eating, music, Natalie being the center of attention as always. I was helping pick up dirty plates and glasses because my parents had told me to make myself useful. And then came the toast moment. My dad went up to the small stage they had set up and gave a super emotional speech about how proud he was of Natalie, how special she was, how she had brightened their lives since they adopted her. The whole thing. Then he gave the microphone to Natalie so she could say a few words. And this is where everything went to hell. Literally. Natalie started her speech thanking everyone for coming, talking about how much her parents loved her. And then she said something I still can't believe. She said, "I especially want to thank my parents for always putting me first, even when my sister has been a constant failure who has only brought them disappointments." She said that, verbatim, in front of a garden full of people. She continued saying it was hard for my parents to have a daughter who didn't try, who had gotten fat in college, he gained like 5 pounds, nothing crazy, who had no real ambitions, and that she was grateful to be the daughter my parents really wanted. I stood there with a tray of glasses in my hands, feeling all the blood rush to my face. People started murmuring uncomfortably. Some looked at me, and I literally didn't know what to do. My parents were there smiling like idiots, like Natalie had just said something adorable. I wanted to die right there. Disappear. But then something happened that I didn't expect at all. My aunt, one of my mom's sisters, who I barely see because she lives in another city and works in some very important corporate thing, got up from her table and walked toward the stage. I had never seen my aunt in business mode, but that day, man, she was imposing. She approached the microphone, literally took it from Natalie's hands, and said, "I think it's time everyone knows something." My mom went pale immediately, like immediately. And my dad got up from his chair like he wanted to stop her, but my aunt completely ignored him. My aunt said, "Natalie, honey, I think there's something you should know about your adoption." The garden went completely silent. Natalie looked confused. My parents were in total panic. My aunt continued, "I'm your biological mother. I gave you up for adoption to a sister when you were 3 months old. Because at that time, I was building my career and wasn't ready to be a mother. It was the hardest decision of my life, and I agreed to let them raise you on the condition that they also took good care of their biological daughter." Clearly, that didn't happen. The drama that broke out, oh my God. Natalie started crying hysterically, screaming that it couldn't be true, that my aunt was lying. My mom was running toward the stage saying they were going to talk about this in private. People were totally shocked, taking out their phones. Some were already leaving. It was absolute chaos. But my aunt wasn't done. She took an envelope from her purse and said, "I also came here to give my niece the birthday gift she really deserves." She walked over to where I was, still with my tray of glasses like an idiot, and gave me the envelope. When I opened it, there was a check. A blank check. She told me, "Fill it in with the amount you need to finish your college. For a car, for an apartment, for whatever. You deserve it for enduring years of this." Natalie saw the check and went completely crazy. She ran toward me trying to grab it from my hands, screaming that it was hers, that I didn't deserve anything, that I always took everything from her. My parents finally reacted, but not to defend me. No, to try to calm Natalie down. My dad told me to give the check to my sister, that clearly I was causing a problem at her party. My mom was trying to make Natalie stop crying while looking at me with that look of hers as always, like saying everything was my fault. I told them no, that for the first time in my life, someone had given me something and I wasn't going to hand it over to Natalie just because she wanted it. My dad got angry and ordered me to give it to her immediately. My aunt stepped in and told them the check was for me and only for me, that if they tried to take it from me, she would make sure I had everything I needed and they wouldn't see a cent from her ever again. My parents know her, and know she's a millionaire or something like that, so they shut up but looked furious. I left the party that same day. I grabbed my stuff from the house, put it in my old car, and went to my aunt's house. She told me I could stay as long as I wanted. My parents started bombarding me with messages that same night, telling me I had to come back, that I had to apologize to Natalie for ruining her party, that I had to share the money because she was my sister, and that's how family worked. I responded that I would give them the check with one condition: that they apologize to me publicly for years of mistreatment, and that they publicly say they preferred me over Natalie. That they basically do what Natalie had done but in reverse. My parents went crazy, saying that was ridiculous. Cruel. How could I ask them that? Natalie sent me like 50 messages, calling me everything, saying I was a selfish bitch, that I had always been a horrible sister, that she hated me. The next few days were intense. My parents tried to negotiate, saying they would apologize in private but couldn't do something public because that would humiliate Natalie. I told them they either met my condition or never saw the check. Natalie tried to play the victim on social media, posting things about how her jealous sister had ruined her birthday and stolen her money. Some of her friends started sending me hateful messages. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. Like a week passed and my parents kept insisting. Natalie was crying constantly, according to them, saying she needed that money for her college, that I was mean. How could I do this to her? And every day that passed, I felt better. Honestly, because for the first time in my life, I had the power, and they were desperate. It was like a lifetime of frustration coming out all at once. But here comes the best part. After like 10 days of them begging me, sending me messages, trying to convince me, I told them the truth. I was never going to give them the check. It had all been a mind game, so they would feel even a fraction of what I had felt for years. That desperation of wanting something and not being able to have it, of feeling powerless. I told them the check was already deposited in my account, that I was going to use it to finish my college, buy myself a decent car, and move into an apartment near campus, so I never had to go back to their house. The reaction was worse than I expected. My parents went crazy, threatening to sue me. My aunt explained they had no legal case, saying I was an ungrateful daughter, that after everything they had done for me, this was how I repaid them. Natalie sent me a message saying literally that she was going to make my life impossible, that she would make sure everyone knew what kind of horrible person I was. I blocked their numbers, but they started sending me messages from burner phones, creating fake social media accounts to harass me. My aunt had to threaten with a restraining order to make them stop, but they still tried from time to time. The next drama came like 2 weeks later. Natalie somehow found out I was at my aunt's house, I think my mom told her, and she showed up one day while my aunt was at work. She knocked on the door like crazy, screaming that she knew I was there. To open the door, I obviously didn't open it. She stayed outside for like half an hour screaming, saying I had taken her mom away, that I had taken her money, that I had ruined her life. The neighbors came out to see what was happening, and one threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. Natalie finally left, but left me super aggressive voicemails saying this wasn't over. I thought things would calm down after that, but no. My parents and Natalie showed up at my aunt's house one night, like at 10, banging on the door, demanding I come out, that we talk. My aunt came out and told them to leave or she'd call the police. My dad started, yelling at my aunt, telling her she had destroyed the family, that this was her fault for meddling where she wasn't called, that she had brainwashed her daughter. My mom was crying, saying how could she do this to her own sister? Natalie was trying to force the door open to get in. The neighbors called the police. When they arrived, my parents tried to play the victims, saying they just wanted to talk to their daughter, that I was avoiding them unfairly. The police told them they had to leave, or they would arrest them for disturbing the peace. They left, but yelling that this wasn't going to end like this. After that, my aunt hired a lawyer to send a formal letter telling them to stop harassing me or face legal consequences. That finally calmed them down a bit, although every now and then I still get messages from numbers I don't know with things like, "We hope you're happy," "You destroyed us," "This is your fault." I went back to college like 2 months ago. I cashed the check, my aunt helped, at me deposit it safely. With that money, I paid for my entire second year, bought a used but good car, a 2018 Honda Civic, and rented a small apartment near campus. I blocked my entire family on everything, changed my phone number, even made my social media private, and only accepted people I really know. The truth is that now for the first time in my life, I feel free. I don't have to be walking on eggshells. I don't have to watch Natalie get everything while I get crumbs. I don't have to hear my parents tell me I'm not enough. My aunt comes to visit me from time to time, takes me to dinner, asks me how I'm doing in school. She says she's proud of me and that she's so sorry she didn't intervene before, that she didn't know how bad things were because my mom always told her everything was fine. Do I feel bad about what happened? Honestly, no. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm supposed to miss my family or feel guilty. But I don't feel any of that. The only thing I feel is relief. Like my entire life, I'd been carrying a super heavy backpack, and I finally took it off. My grades are better than ever. I made new friends who don't know anything about my family history. I have a part-time job at the university library that I like and lets me study when there's not much work. My aunt told me the other day that Natalie is at the local college, still living with my parents, and that apparently she's having problems because she's not used to anyone telling her no or having to really try. My parents are paying her full tuition like they always said they would, but according to my aunt, they're having money problems because my dad's car broke down and they're in debt from the birthday party they never finished paying for. I'm not going to lie. That gives me a bit of satisfaction. Will I ever talk to them again? I don't know, honestly. Right now, I have no interest. Maybe in several years when I'm already graduated, have my own life established, have the perspective of time. I could consider some kind of minimal contact, but I also might not do it and be perfectly fine with that. For now, I'm focused on myself, on finishing my degree, on building the life I want without having to ask permission or apologize for existing. And that, after 19 years, feels incredible.